Okay, today let's look at our next lesson on fractions. So we're going to review the basics of fractions today. So if we take a look, open up to page 5 of your fractions packet. And we're going to look at what fractional numbers are today and the meanings of them. So if we take a look, it says a fraction is a number which names a part of a whole. So if we have the fraction 2/3, 2 is our numerator, 3 is the denominator. So the denominator is on the bottom, numerator is on the top. And what this means is 2/3 means that it's 2 parts out of 3 equal parts. So the top number is how many parts. The bottom part is how many parts we have in all. So if we take a look, in this example, in the model, we have 3 parts in all. That's our denominator. And we have 2 parts colored, or 2 parts shaded. So 2 parts shaded out of 3 in all. And each of the parts is a third. So if we have this next model, we have 2 parts are triangles, but there's 3 parts in all, so 2/3. So let's just add to this. The numerator is the parts shaded, or parts colored, okay? And the denominator, the bottom part, is how many parts we have in each shape. Okay, so what we're splitting it into. So here on the bottom it says write a fraction for the colored area. So for number 1, they give us 3 parts shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts altogether. So our fraction is 3/4. For the next one, we don't have any parts shaded, so we would have 0 parts out of 2, right? So that would be our fraction. None of them are shaded, okay? The next one, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's split here actually into 4 sections, and 2 of them are shaded. So we have 2/4 shaded. And that 2/4 is the same as half of the total shaded. Okay, so 2 out of 4, or 1/2. The bottom one, again, we have the bottom half shaded, but it's really split into those 6 sections altogether. So we have 1, 2, 3 parts shaded out of 6. We have 3/6, and that is the same as 1/2. Okay, so we have 1/2 shaded, but if we're looking at our numerator and denominator, we had 3 parts shaded out of 6 altogether, so 3/6. For number 5, we have 1 shaded out of the 3, so we have 1/3 shaded. Okay, and the last one, number 6, we have 1 shaded out of 4, so we have 1/4 of our block shaded. Number 7 says, what part of each set is colored? So here we have a set of items, and we have 3 shaded out of 5. So 3/5 of these blocks are shaded. For this next one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded out of 9 altogether. So we have 5/9 shaded. And the last one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded out of 6 rectangles altogether, so 4/6. Okay, which if we take a look at it, we could split this into 3, sets of 2 each, and so we would have 2 of those sections shaded out of 3 altogether. So 4/6 would be equal to 2/3. Let's look at the next page, page 6. On page 6, we want to look at understanding fractions, and it says, when we talk about fractions, we use pictures or models to help us understand the fractions. There are 3 different models which we will use: the set model, the area model, and the measurement model. So the first type we're going to look at is the set model, and this is when we look at a collection of items. Okay, so here it says, Miss Borman's class has 7 boys and 9 girls. There are 16 students altogether. So out of this set of 16 students, these 7 are boys, 9 are girls. So the fraction 7/16 or 7 out of 16 tells us what part of the class the boys are. Okay, so 7/16 would show us the boys in the class. So here, if we look at these examples below, here we have baseballs and footballs. So what part of this whole set is just footballs? Well, we have 4 footballs, 1, 2, 3, 4, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 balls altogether. So we have 4/10 of them are footballs. Okay. And if we look at this next one, it says, look at the objects pictured below. Which part of the set is colored? So if we have 1, 2, 3 shoes and 2 of them are colored, we have 2/3 of the set colored, okay, or shaded, however they would word it. Another way we can look at fractions is with an area model, and it says an area model is a geometric shape divided into parts. So if we look at this rectangle below, it's divided into these 4 equal parts, and one part is colored. So we would say that 1/4 of the area of the rectangle is colored. So 1/4 here would be colored. Okay, let's look at the next page, and we have a few to try. So here's 3 shapes, 3 examples, and we want to know what part of each shape is colored. Well, here we have 1 part colored out of the 3 sections, so we have 1/3 colored. Here we have 2 shaded out of the 5, so we have 2/5 colored. And here in this triangle we have 1 out of 2, or 1/2. So guys, let's just look at that and write this. 1/2 is written like this. We write it 1/2, okay? Let's go back this one. 2/5 is written like this, 2/5. And here, this one is 1/3. So the only time where we say the word half is when we have a 2 as our denominator, okay? If we look at the 2 bars here, each bar is divided into 3 parts. So there are 6 parts altogether. 4 of the parts are colored. Actually, 4 of them really are white, right? So what fraction tells the area of the bars? Well, we have 2 out of those 6. So 2/6 of the total is colored, okay, of that, okay. Look at the next type. The measurement model uses a type of measurement device such as a number line or a ruler. So for example, it says, look at the ruler below. It's divided into these 6 parts, into 6 inches. The first 5 inches of the ruler are colored. And it's probably, we don't maybe see that. So just take your pencil and shade it. So the first 5 inches are colored. The fraction that tells what part of the ruler is colored would be 5/6, or 5 out of 6 total inches. So here, if we have a measuring cup for number 5, it says below is a measuring cup. It's divided into 4ths. How full is the measuring cup? Well, it's up to 3 out of those 4, so 3/4. And if we look at this bar below, it says it's divided into 8 equal parts. Color in 3. So if we want to divide something into 8, let's make a midway point. That would be 4. And then we can split each of these in half again, and we would get our 2 and our 6. And then we can split each of those apart and get our 1, our 3, 5, and 7. So now we have it split into 8ths, right? 8 equal sections. And notice I tried to split them equally. It says color in 3 of them. Okay, so if we color in 3, we have now colored in 3 out of the 8. Okay, or 3/8. Okay, that's how we can use the measurement model. Let's look at the next page, page 8 in our packet. And here we have a little practice with areas and sets. So an area, we would have 1/5 of the area colored here. So it didn't shade, so let's shade 1/5. Okay, that would be out of one shape, split into 5 sections, we shade one of them. If we have a set of blocks, right, 5/8 of the set here, they colored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces colored out of 8 altogether. So remember, the denominator tells me how many pieces or how many parts in the set altogether. Okay, the top number tells me how many we're dealing with, how many are we shading. So if we have a fraction of each set or area here that's been colored, we're going to write true if that answer that they give us is true, false if it is not. So here they give me 1 piece shaded out of 4 total. So my fraction, they tell me, is 1/4, which does match up. 1 shaded out of 4 pieces, so that would be true. The next one, they tell me, is 7/9. So we should have 7 shaded out of 9 altogether. Well, they shaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 9. 9 total. But that's not 7/9. It should be, we're going to say false because it should be 6/9. Here they shaded, sorry about that, they shaded out of this one 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out of 6. So 4/6 is what they say is colored, and sorry, my page just turned a little bit. That would be true. The next one, they have 4 pieces out of 8, they say. So if we look, we have 4 pieces shaded, and there are 8 altogether. So they are correct. That is 4/8. Number 5. They look and they tell us it's 6/7. So did we shade 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Out of 7. So this is showing 6/7. And this next one, they say, is 5/10. Well, 5/10 colored. I don't see any of them colored. So it should be 0/10. So I think that one is false. And the next one, they say 4/11. So I see 4 are shaded. Did they have 11 altogether? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yes, 4 are shaded out of 11th, showing 4/11. And the last one, they say, is 7/9. So did we shade 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9. No, that is false. They've shaded 8/9. So you can see that we can look at fractions, total shaded, out of the total pieces. Numerator is the total shaded. Denominator is the total pieces. That is our lesson on area and sets of fractions. What I'd like you to do today is I want you to grab a scratch piece of paper. We're going to do a little review from our previous lesson. I want you to put your name on it. You'll turn it in when you're done. And today, we're going to practice our greatest common factors and least common multiples again from our previous lesson. So I want you to find today for me the greatest common factor of 21 and 35. So remember, you're going to need to make your 21, your 35, find the factors, circle what they have in common, and then tell me, let me just zoom in here, tell me the greatest common factor. And then I want you to also do that for 15 and 25. Find the greatest common factor of them both. Okay. Remember, these are factors. Okay. What times what? Right? Make your rainbow. Okay. So these factors, you find the facts. Then I also want you to find, we're going to practice our least common multiple of, I want you to try 6 and 9. So make your 6s, make your 9s, find the least common multiple they have in common. And I would also like you to try 8 and 10. Okay, make your 8s multiples, 10s multiples, find the smallest one they have in common. Okay, remember this one, multiples, we find by skip counting, right? Okay, factors we find by something times something gets me that number I'm looking for. Okay, do those 4 different problems for me today. Put your name on it and turn it in when you're finished.